So now new this morning, President Zelensky is saying that Ukraine's defense minister spoke on the phone with the head of Russia's negotiating team in Istanbul. The Ukrainian leader pushing for his country to be invited to the upcoming NATO summit, saying by not doing so it would be a victory for Putin over the alliance. But Putin wants in writing that NATO will never expand in order to get peace in Ukraine. So when it comes now, as President Trump warns Putin to think carefully about his next move, posting this, what Vladimir Putin doesn't realize is that if it were not for me, lots of really bad things would have already happened to Russia, and I mean really bad. He's playing with fire. Dan Hoffman knows it all too well, studied Putin all of his life, lived in Moscow, station chief there. And Dan, good morning to you.
Good morning.
We've reached a critical point here, I believe, in this war. And if Putin does not want peace, what are Trump's options? What are Europe's options? Where does the potential for the fork in the road take us?
Yeah, Bill, I think it's important not only to see the world through the twisted KGB eyes of Vladimir Putin, but also to see ourselves through Putin eyes, because Putin is a KGB guy who's sizing up the president and his administration. Putin knows that President Trump promised to end the war within a day when he was on the campaign trail. He knows that the United States would like to expand our commercial relationship with Russia, and he's certainly well aware of the contentious relationship between President Trump and President Zelensky. Putin probably thinks he has some leverage right now to carry on this war. The question, the penultimate question that I think President Trump might want to be asking Director of CIA Ratcliffe is, would Putin even be interested ever in stopping the war? This is Putin's war. He's spilled massive amounts of blood and treasure to topple the government of Ukraine, and so far he's failed. I'm not so sure that the war is going to end until Putin is no longer in the Kremlin. I think that's the question we need to be asking.
Wow.
And then a follow-up, what can we do to test that? So we may not know the answer. We haven't really used all the leverage we have. We've got secondary sanctions warmed up in the bullpen thanks to Senator Lindsey Graham and Democrats who have supported that proposal as well. And then we've got arms that we can provide Ukraine, Patriot air defense and offensive munitions. So there's a lot more that we can do to test that hypothesis.
Okay, a couple things here. The deputy chair of Russia's Security Council responded to Trump's truth and said, regarding Trump's words about Putin playing with fire and really bad things happening to Russia, I only know of one really bad thing, World War III. I hope Trump understands this. You mentioned a number of things there. You know, what can you test? And you listed a number of things there. John Ratcliffe, head of CIA, what are his conversations all about? Overnight, you know, you got the German leader saying that we're going to strike deep into Russia now. And they did. There were drones that reportedly hit a number of different military installations that are building cruise missiles for the war. They're building drones for the war. So that is happening right now. But back to this point that you just mentioned there about Putin. You have to know what he is willing to accept to get peace. That's what you said. What do you think he wants that would get that?
So I think you know you're getting to Putin a little bit when you hear the nuclear rhetorical brinkmanship. When the Biden administration was talking about giving Ukraine the weapons they needed when they needed them, that's when Putin's stalking horse, Dmitry Medvedev, the deputy national security advisor, was threatening nuclear war. And that really got to Joe Biden. And I think it really induced the Biden administration not to give Ukraine Javelin anti-tank weapons and aircraft and other things that Ukraine needed when they needed it. But look, Putin's strategic objective has never changed. He wants to topple the government of Ukraine and install a puppet regime. What we need to do is make it clear that's just not possible. And where the rubber's going to meet the road is whether Putin will ever accept that. And I don't know the answer to that question, Bill, and I don't know whether we can know until we really take serious action against Russia in the form of economic pressure that we haven't taken so far, as well as military support to Ukraine. Now, President Zelensky's in Germany right now, and the Germans are talking about giving Ukraine the Taurus long-range ballistic missile. That would be a good thing for Ukraine to have in their arsenal.
Dan, thank you. Coming back real soon. Seems like we're escalating.
All right.
Someone's got to step back here. Otherwise, it's going to go in a bad direction. Dan Hoffman, thank you for your time today. Appreciate it.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.